Hello everyone, Patrick back again, and today we're looking at the MilViz FG-1D Corsair. Corsair is an American fighter that first took flight in 1940, going on to serve in World War II, then later the Korean War, and now serving you in Microsoft Flight Simulator. During late January 1945, the FG-1D was first delivered to the Port of Columbus Airport in Ohio. Today the airport is called John Glenn Columbus International, and that's where I will be showcasing the Corsair for you today. This aircraft comes with 21 liveries, all of which depict their own unique age and character. The texturing of the Corsair is great, and you'll really feel like you're flying a classic warbird, especially in VR. I noticed some low poly areas between the wing folds and sometimes the text, but nothing too major, all areas I don't plan on looking at beyond my examination for this video. Getting close to the wing, I even noticed shoe prints from where you would step into the cockpit, and I love seeing details like this. And speaking of stepping into the cockpit, it's a good time to do that now. The inside shares the same age as what you see on the exterior, and don't worry, these controls are not in-op. You can follow very realistic flows when operating. In a moment, we'll start the aircraft so you can hear that supercharger in all its glory, but before that, I want to talk about the kneeboard. With a single click, the tray will extend. At a minimum, you need the battery on to see the map and loadout manager. The map pretty much speaks for itself, but the loadout is where things get a little interesting. Here you can add additional fuel tanks, Mk-117 bombs, 50 cal ammo, and HVAR rockets. The rockets are just for looks and do not fire. The bombs and fuel tanks, however, can be released, but there is no drop animation. Dropping and carrying these bombs and tanks does affect the way the Corsair flies. My favorite weapon was the 50 cal gun. Though you don't see damage, the sounds and muzzle flash are enough to give you the sensation that you are really firing the 50. Now, as promised, let's start the engine and go flying. If you're new to the Corsair, Microsoft Flight Simulator's Checklist Assist is great for learning any of the realistic flows. The provided manual also does a good job covering the various aircraft operations, instrument locations, and performance charts. Alright, so let's come over to the checklist. We're going to click on Starting Engine. And first, we're going to confirm that the magnetos are off. The mixture lever is in the idle cutoff position. And then now we're going to pull the prop by clicking on it. And you need to do this twice, otherwise it will not start. We're just waiting for the first rotation. Once we get the second one going, we can move on and look at the fuel selector, which is next. And we want to set that on reserve. Alternate air set for direct. The prop RPM lever in the takeoff position. And then we're going to open the throttle 1 inch. The supercharger lever to neutral. And the mixture, again, we're moving it back up to full rich. Now the battery on, the instrument switch on, and the fuel pump switch on, followed by the engine primer for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn that off, and the fuel pump. We're going to come over to the magnetos and now set those to both, and now the starter switch to on. So we can see the oil pressure is rising. And then we're going to fully open the cowl flaps, press and hold the brakes, and now we're going to set our RPMs to 1,000. And then again, confirming the cowl flaps are fully open, and that the oil cooler flap is closed, and it is. Then from there we're just monitoring the oil pressure and the temperature, the cylinder head temperature, and then we can open up the wings. If you've tried the World War II simulator IL-2 or IL-2, this Corsair feels a lot like the excellent flight models provided on that sim. The engine performance, vibrations, and sounds all come together beautifully. In fact, this is the best feeling fixed-wing aircraft I've personally tried on Microsoft Flight Simulator so far. The recent Warbird releases have really been stellar, and though I haven't tried it, I'm told the recently released Spitfire by Flying Iron Simulations is just like the quality I'm describing about this Corsair. Before we come back to land, I want to briefly talk about the damage model. Now don't get too excited, your wings aren't going to fly off or anything like that, but it does offer some consequences for mishandling the aircraft. The first is prop strikes. Letting the tail wheel come off the ground too much will end your flight before it begins. Overstressing the engine is another thing you need to worry about. Doing so will leave it blowing up in your face with a nice smear of oil blocking your view out the windscreen. But fear not, opening the canopy paired with head tracking will allow you to stick your head out the window and safely attempt the ditch. As we head back into John Glenn, I want to say MilViz really did a nice job with this one. No Frankenstein sorcery of this model, just a really good rendition of a classic aircraft. Nearly 1 year after the release of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're finally starting to see the true potential of the simulator through talented developers like MilViz here. I hope we can finally start to see the short-sighted notion disappear that this sim is all eye candy and nothing else. Thanks for watching, everyone. For more videos like this, make sure to click the subscribe button or head over to FSElite.net for all the flight simulation news. My name is Patrick. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you on the next one.